And away we go.
All right. So, what's in today's news today? What do we have to report on?
Oh, this is interesting. Chief says Rashi Rice gets 30-day jail sentence for high-speed crash.
30-day jail sentence?
Yeah,
Was anybody hurt? Was anybody hurt?
well, I hope not.
Yeah, me too. I mean, if somebody was hurt, then that deserves more than 30 days.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, okay, fine. I will say this: fine, as long as no one was hurt, that's fine. But yeah, just let's hear more and let's hear more about this story.
Rashi Rice was sentenced to 5 years probation and 30 days in jail for his involvement in a multi-car crash, according to the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. Rice pleaded guilty to third-degree felony charges, including collision involving serious bodily injury and racing on a highway causing bodily injury. Following the crash, Rice fled the scene and did not check on the victim's welfare, according to the DA. Rice expressed that he has had a lot of sleepless nights thinking about the damages caused by his actions.
I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but you know, yeah, it's I would say that definitely deserves more than 30 days if you crashed into other people and they were hurt and you did not even check on their well-being and you just fled the scene. But I mean, but then again, I don't really expect most people to do the right thing or see the good that's good and the evil that's evil. So you know, uh, I don't really expect that anymore. So I mean, ultimately, it is what it is.
And it was what it was.
Exactly. But yeah, what else in the news?
Police taking no further action after investigating Kneecap's Glastonbury show.
I'm sorry. What?
An investigation into comments made by Kneecap during their performance at Glastonbury has concluded, leading police to state they will take no further action due to insufficient evidence for prosecution. Kneecap was informed of the decision on Friday, July 18th, sharing details on social media, claiming one element of the political policing intimidation attempt is over. Kneecap member Mo Chara faces charges for displaying a Hezbollah flag, which he denies, while the band asserts they do not support Hamas or Hezbollah.
Israel finishes. It's still ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Like you support one side, you're a clown. If you support the other side, you're a clown. And the opposing side, is eyes. I'm not saying that any one of them are clowns. I'm just saying, in the opposing side's eyes, you're a clown for supporting the other side. I really don't know what to say. I don't really don't know what to say much here. Do you have anything?
Well, I can't argue for expressing their opinions the way they did. However, I am concerned about what is going to happen to them next, going forward after that investigation. Because I understand why they're expressing their opinions like that. Of course, there is an issue somewhere in the Middle East, and it's far beyond our control. But of course, and I have said this a couple episodes ago, whilst I definitely support expressing your opinions and frustrations about the tragic events taking place around the world, you always have to be cautious about where you stand and how you're showcasing your message. Because people of higher authority will use that as an excuse to have you arrested and put you behind bars. Whilst you expressing your opinion, how you express your opinion is what authorities will have you arrested for. And that's my concern. I want people to express their opinions and frustrations and create conversations about what goes on around the world. I do have concerns about what happens to those people who do speak out, but then get put behind bars.
Yeah, honestly, it's just unfortunate on so many different levels. Um, yeah, it's It's just very unfortunate on like a lot of different levels. But there's really nothing that we can do about what happens if people either express their opinions or like show support for like a specific side. Or there's just nothing that we can do about it. All we can do is sit and wait, and hopefully something will the problem will resolve itself, and people will realize how dumb like most of this stuff really is, and how much of a time waster it is. Now, in terms of war, obviously there's not a waste of time because your life is on the line. War in general is a stupid idea, a stupid concept, but at the same time, it's like you can't stop a person who is constantly trying to defend their side. But it is what it is, man.
And it was what it was.
But in unrelated news, I saw the Superman movie yesterday, and I saw a certain side. Like some people liked it, some people didn't. But me personally, I thought it was a pretty good movie. It was solid for the most part. Not necessarily any hidden any hidden agendas whatsoever. It was a pretty good movie.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think there were some criticisms where it's like where there were instances where Superman was a bit emotional, but other than that, that's about it. It's like I didn't really have a problem with it. Like I'm like, it's just a natural human reaction to certain situations. I think they were trying to somewhat make Superman relatable in that movie too. Like trying to make him seem more relatable and human. Eh, at least that's what most people say. But yeah, pretty good movie. I wanted to see something else, but it wasn't. I guess it wasn't in theater. But you know. But anyways, yeah. Is there anything else in the news?
The largest piece of Mars found on Earth fetches meteoric $5.3 million at New York auction.
Oh wow. Let's hear more about that.
A meteorite weighing 54 pounds and originating from Mars sold for $5.3 million at a Sotheby's auction, making it the most valuable meteorite ever sold at auction. The reddish-brown meteorite, known as NWA 16788, is 70% larger than the next largest piece of Mars recovered on Earth and represents nearly 7% of all the Martian material currently on this planet, according to Sotheby's. Cassandra Hatton, Vice Chairman of Science and Natural History at Sotheby's, described the meteorite as unbelievably rare and said this isn't just a miraculous find, but a massive data set that can help us unlock the secrets of our neighbor, the Red Planet.
First off, I didn't know that meteorites can sell for that much. I mean, in the fact that they're meteorites, you would expect them to probably sell for probably more than that. But that's still a good amount of money though. Sell a meteorite for. Huh. But the real question is, are there any more meteorites on Earth? Are meteorites even real? Is it just a made up concept? See, and these are questions I'll be honest, I could get the answers to, but I'm not gonna necessarily think too deeply about it. We're just gonna stick to the fact that it's a meteorite and it's selling for that much. Yeah, I didn't know that. I'll be honest, I never really thought to think that meteorites could be actually be sold for money, but then again, they're considered rare. They're considered something to be out of this world. So I'm not that surprised, and I would say good for the person who sold it for that much. And hey, if you find any more meteorites, then probably gonna sell it either for the same amount or for less or more. Who knows? Regardless, actually no, I think if there was more, the value would just go down. And it's everywhere, whatever. It's not everywhere. Yes, yeah, sell for a good amount. But either way, a meteorite's a meteorite, and a meteorite is a meteorite, and you know that's a good amount of money that they sold it for. But is there anything else in it?
Indeed, there is. Explosion at LA County Sheriff's facility unalives 3 deputies.
Okay, okay, let's hear more about that. But wait,
An explosion at a Los Angeles Sheriff's Department training facility in California has unalived 3 deputies. Investigators are looking into it as a possible training accident, according to the Associated Press. The incident occurred around 7:30 a.m. local time at the Biscaluz training facility, located in the eastern part of the city. It's unclear what the deputies were doing when the explosion went off. Los Angeles-based KABC reported personnel were handling some kind of explosives when the blast went off. The Los Angeles Police Department's bomb squad was also sent to the scene to neutralize any other potential explosives, and the area was evacuated, according to the Los Angeles Times. So far, no other injuries have been reported. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said the LA Fire Department and the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives are on the scene assisting the investigation.
what's your thoughts on that?
Well, now I really had to think about this. Because, firstly, as part of their police, as part of the training at the sheriff's at the departments, I don't know how to call it, but when it comes to the training, or at least training in general, what purpose do explosives have, and what is the training about? Because the thing is, the context is very important. Well, I understand there are dangerous situations that people within the police force or anyone that closely works with the county sheriff, are going to have to deal with some dangerous situations. How would the explosive play a part in training the young recruits to prepare themselves for the worst case scenarios? And what other health and safety measures put in place to ensure that anyone on site do not get injured? That's all I have to say. I'm not going to argue about don't bring explosives, but if they're going to if explosives are involved, what's the purpose and what are the measures in place to ensure no one gets hurt?
Interesting take. I 100% agree. And yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. But
Iran's leader hurt in strike. Intelligence casts doubt on nuclear damage.
all right, Iran's leader. Hear more about that. And yeah,
United States intelligence officials said Israeli airstrikes injured Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian during a high-level security meeting. Iranian state media confirmed the location and his leg injuries. The US struck 3 major Iranian nuclear sites in June, with Fordo taking the most damage. Officials said the full impact remains under assessment. The Pentagon claimed Iran's nuclear program was totally obliterated. However, congressional aides and nuclear experts said that key capabilities may survive underground.
well, I will say this. Nonetheless, I hope everything is okay. I hope everything is okay, and will become okay, in that certain situation because definitely is a tough situation to be in. It definitely is a tough situation to be in. I wouldn't want anybody, injured, in that type of situation to begin with. So I just hope everything is okay from that standpoint, from that situation in general. Pretty much all I have to say about that. Do you have anything?
I know I've said this many times, and I know everyone's going to have their own opinions on it. I will say, why are the US involved? Like, I get the US has been essential and influential in many key events around the world. However, I think there are some situations where there shouldn't be any outside intervention unless there are very, very serious circumstances that could lead to mass unaliving. But otherwise, whichever sides are arguing, just leave those sides to it. They've been down that road before. They will have to figure that out for themselves.
Yeah, the U.S. is always getting involved. I don't know what to say about it anymore. I'm gonna be honest. What am I gonna say? U.S. shouldn't get involved. I should say that. I really should. But it's like they're gonna get involved regardless. I'm just gonna wish them nothing. Hope everything is because it
Yeah,
is a
I
sticky.
really do hope that whatever's going on does get resolved efficiently.
Yeah, same. It's just unfortunate when we get into other people's business, even though it's not our business. All we can do is hope for the best for the people who are in the conflict and not be a part of the conflict. I wish that was the case, but it's not. But it is what it is. And honestly, just it's just a tough situation. Really tough situation. I wouldn't want to be in it. Pretty sure any smart, logical person would not want to be in that situation. But what are you gonna do? The U.S. is controlled. The U.S. is bought and sold for, and I'm not knocking the patriotic people, but you have to think of something more, something deeper than you know, country. You know how people say skin deep? It's not country deep either. It's more. It's honestly more than that. So be happy to be from your country, but never take pride in it that it's your that that it becomes your whole identity. I don't know. Be happy that you're from the country. Don't be ashamed of it, obviously. But it's like, and if you are ashamed of it, then just move. But don't take pride. Like it's just being able to make it your entire identity. It's not country deep, but hey, I love the United States. Who would want to die for a country that's barely even ours anymore? But is there anything else in it?
The mystery of the missing prince's new theory on historic disappearance.
Interesting. Let's hear more about that.
Following her 2012 uncovering of Richard III's remains, British author Philippa Langley released The Princes in the Tower, Solving History's Greatest Cold Case, claiming the princes survived. Unconvinced by the standard account, Philippa Langley began investigating after concluding the tale was history being written by the victors, attributing the narrative to King Henry VII's paranoia. During her Missing Princes project, documents supporting a rebellion by Edward IV's son surfaced, and the project revealed further evidence. Despite Langley's claims, Michael Dobson expressed skepticism, while historians described the disappearance as one of history's most intriguing murders. Long after the princes vanished, nearly 200 years after their disappearance, two small skeletons were found in a wooden box at the Tower of London and reburied at Wet.
Any thoughts?
I don't have much of an opinion on this story. I just find it quite interesting how there's different parts to history that we may not have learnt at school. So it's very interesting and unique perspective to have seen what what else goes on behind the scenes with what the royal family has been doing and what they have said outside of whatever history has been set into the history books and what history we were taught in school.
Yeah, I don't really have much of an opinion on this story either. So yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Japan rice prices doubled, raising pressure on Prime Minister.
Oh wow, raising pressure on the prime minister. Let's hear more about that. Why are they pressuring the prime minister, the precious prime minister who has done nothing wrong? Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, let's just read the story.
Japan's official data on July 18, 2025 showed rice prices soared nearly 100% year-on-year amid an ongoing domestic shortage. The rise in rice prices was driven by a nationwide shortage caused by an extremely warm and arid summer 2 years prior, compounded by traders stockpiling rice and a wave of panic buying. Raising inflation, marked by a sharp increase in grain prices exceeding 90% in recent months, is creating significant challenges for Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and his government. Stefan Angrick of Moody's Analytics noted that uncertainty in policy, slow transmission of price increases to consumers, and a weaker yen contributes to sustained inflationary pressures, while stagnant nominal wage growth hampers improvements in real earnings. The high rice prices and inflation contribute to low public support for Ishiba, threaten the ruling coalition's upper house majority in Sunday's election, and could force his resignation.
The rice prices, huh? Man, they must really love their rice. Huh?
They do, yes. And if the Japanese really cared about their rices, then they really should have done what was mentioned in that report. Because the thing is, being in a government is like playing chess. You more than just got to have a plan. You got to think 3 or 4 steps ahead. You always got to prepare yourself for the worst case scenario. And if you're not prepared for that, then who knows what's going to happen to the nation. That's all I have to say. But otherwise, whatever the reasons mentioned for the high rises, the prices of the rice rising, yeah, there's no getting out of that. Something has to be done as soon as possible.
That's true. I mean, hey, the prime minister might be out of a job. But you gotta do something. You gotta do something quick. You gotta do something quick before, like, he's just out completely. But hey, we're gonna see what he does in the next coming month, week, years. Who knows how long it's gonna take. But yeah, we're gonna see what he does next, and if he does something about it, then cool. If he doesn't, then well, he's just out of a job, buddy. But hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day,
And it was what it was.
yeah, we just have to wait and see what he does next. What's the next story?
Let's see. Brazil's Congress passed bill to overhaul environmental regulations.
Environmental regulations. Let's see what that bill is all about in the environmental regulations.
We shall see. Brazil's House of Representatives has approved a weakening of environmental projections for large-scale projects by a large majority. On Wednesday, local time, in the conservative-dominated parliamentary chamber in Brasilia, 267 members voted in favor of the proposed legislation, while 116 voted against. The project is being pushed forward by the powerful bloc of agri-businesses and cattle ranchers. For more than 20 years, Brazil's Congress has been debating the law, which aims to simplify permitting procedures for infrastructure projects in areas such as the Amazon rainforest. The bill was already passed by the other chamber of Congress, the Senate, in May. To take effect, the law must now be signed into law by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Environmental organizations have sharply criticized the plan. Opponents call it a bill of devastation. They have called on Lula to veto it. But while Brazil aspires to take a leading role in the fight against global warming, the president supports the search for new oil sources as key to the growth of Latin America's largest economy. I mean, I know a lot of people in Brazil have asked for deforestation to stop. A lot of people in Brazil, not everyone, but many people in Brazil, they want the deforestation to end. But that it's still going to keep going regardless. And no matter how many people are asking whoever's involved in the deforestation to stop, they're still going to keep doing it. The aspects within the deforestation, people involved in the deforestation, whether it be cutting down trees or chopping down the bushes or just wipe the terrain clean, so there is space to build apartments or small businesses or even make a new town or city. Although I understand, I'm not against. The point I'm making is, why on earth people are still attempting to deforest the Amazon? I mean, Brazil is big enough as it is, and many years back, a lot of people have argued there's too many people living along the coast. Why not try to centralize the population? Well, having created Brazil as Brazil's new capital, where the population can be centralized, is on its own rather effective. It's not enough. And even if there should be other plans to centralize Brazil's population, deforesting the Amazon is not the way to go. There is plenty of land in central Brazil where you can build new communities, create high rises, or whatever you want to build. You don't need to take down forests to make more land, more space. It's like you have, it's like a mother and a father, parents of two children that are buying a house that has 6 bedrooms. But then a year later, they thought, you know what, let's go and buy a bigger house with not, the one that has 9 bedrooms. Like, what's the need for all those bedrooms? That's the point I'm making. Like, I understand Brazil's population will continue to grow, but what's the need to destroy the Amazon rainforest? What's the point of deforestation to make up more land if there's already enough space in central Brazil to begin with? That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, like you definitely have a good point. You definitely have a good point on that too. Yeah, I 100% agree. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Still looking. Energy Innovation Center Institute launches first of its kind infrastructure academy regional training facility.
All right, let's hear more about that.
Alright then. Today at the Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit hosted by Senator David McCormick at Carnegie Mellon University, the Energy Innovation Center Institute announced the phase of its highly successful Infrastructure Academy, the development of the initial Infrastructure Academy Regional Training Facility. The construction of this groundbreaking workforce and resiliency center in southwestern Pennsylvania is expected to be the first of a group of such facilities throughout the US. With an estimated budget of up to $135 million built in phases for the first location, it is estimated that it will serve as a model for as many as 15 facilities built strategically across the US at a total estimated investment of $2.1 billion. EICI's Infrastructure Academy is part of EICI's larger workforce programming, which together have already trained over 5,300 individuals, with 86% of graduates placed in full-time jobs, plus upskilling, safety, and operator qualification training for 1,800 incumbent workers in energy, utilities, and critical infrastructure sectors. Set to be constructed in southwestern Pennsylvania and service the tri-state region of western Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio, and West Virginia. The IART facility will be the nation's first integrated training and operational site for the future of energy, utility, critical infrastructure, microgrids, on-site power generation, AI data centers, and AI-enabled workforce training.
Well, I will say this: congratulations to them for being the first. Being the first, and I just want to wish them the most. I just want to wish them being as much success as possible. Because I'm pretty sure it was difficult for them to do for them to do this. And obviously, they will reap the fruits of it. They will reap the fruits of it, and somewhat now, but maybe in the distant future. So I just want to say congratulations, accomplishment. Nonetheless, everything will come to play and come to We just gotta hope that they're not gonna do anything evil or do anything like malicious. And just stick to what they know and what they do. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
I'll find another story. Stephen Colbert gets solidarity from fellow late-night hosts after cancellation news.
The cancellation news. Huh. Okay. Well, we're gonna see what they had to cancel or what they did cancel. And yeah, just let's hear more about this cancellation news.
Thursday saw CBS announce that The Late Show with Stephen Colbert will end in May 2026, citing purely a financial decision against a challenging late-night backdrop. Earlier this month, Paramount Global agreed to settle Trump's lawsuit for $16 million amid corporate pressures from its tense merger with Skydance Media. On Thursday, Jimmy Kimmel shared on Instagram story, "Love you, Stephen. Screw you and all your Sheldons, CBS," in response to Colbert's cancellation. Senator Adam Schiff questioned America deserves to know if his show was cancelled for political reasons, demanding transparency amid controversy over Colbert's termination. Many view the decision as an ominous sign for the late-night genre in decline, marking the end of one of its biggest names.
I'll say this: it probably most likely was. Due to political reasons. Why else would they cancel something for? Why else would they cancel something other than the fact that it's not drawing money? For political reasons. Man, politics to me are just dead. Like I feel like most people are. I even feel like literally most people are only interested in politics when the next president is being chosen. After that, everyone just doesn't care anymore. So there are people who do care enough to post about it and enough to be proud about it, sure. But I'm pretty sure the vast majority of people just don't really care all that much about politics. So yeah, they agree with certain topics, but it's like after that, it's like okay, fine. They're not gonna wholeheartedly talk about it. I mean, it's like if you're not making anything off of it, there's no point in really. I would say there's no point in risking your job or any job over like politics, bro. Because like politics is just they're kind of stupid. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It's like it's like you're either on one side or the other side, or you're in the middle. I know that some people back in history would be disappointed that we're even at this point in politics. Whether it's Democrats, Republicans, and what's I'm pretty sure Elon is starting a new party. That's probably gonna fail. I'm not saying I want him to fail. It's probably gonna fail though. Let's be honest. Probably not gonna do as good. And if it does do as good, then you have to question why it's doing very good. Or even if it's failing, but yet it's still a thing. You have to question that. You have to question that all the time. There's a lot of things you have to question. So, honestly, yeah, so it's probably canceled due to political opinions and political biases. But I'm pretty sure we'll find that out somewhere in the distant future, and we always find that out in the distant future. I would say it's not worth risking your job over. Politics is not worth risking your job over. Politics are just because man, politics is not going to save your life. Your political affiliation is not going to save your life whatsoever. Probably make you money if you choose to be a content creator, sure, because you'll have an audience who agrees with you, who vastly agree with your opinions and agree with your political standings, but that's about it. But hey, best of luck to the person who, best of luck to that guy who got his show canceled. Obviously this is probably not gonna be the end of him. He's probably gonna do other things. Shoot, he may even make a show on YouTube. He may even make a show like that, such as that for YouTube specifically, or go to another platform, or go to another streaming service and just do something such as that. So the world is an oyster. So I'm not worried, and he's probably not worried either. I guess that's that. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Roblox roll out new teen safety features and a
I'm sorry. Say that one more time. Roblox rolls out what?
Safety features and AI.
Gotcha. Well, I'm not surprised about the AI part, but yeah, let's hear more about Roblox rolling out these things.
The popular online gaming platform Roblox rolled out new rules during the week of July 13th, specifically for its teenage audience. The biggest
Mm-hmm.
change is the creation of trusted connections, which Roblox says will only let teen users interact with people they know personally. Roblox has been the source of many child safety concerns in recent years, with multiple reports suggesting it has exposed children to inappropriate content and real-life danger.
You know what? That's actually a valid point. I agree with Roblox on
Absolutely,
that.
yes.
Honestly, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's a valid point. I mean, yeah, it's like even still, like I've seen some predator catching videos where it's like the main where it's like how they would interact with like how these guys would interact with children is through Roblox specifically. So I am glad that they're taking that initiative and like really doing something about it and trying to protect like teenagers and even younger children too. I mean, yeah, like you should really only interact with people you know as a teenager, because it's like it could be dangerous to like interact with like adults who might have terrible motives. So yeah, I would say like I just 100% agree with like what they're doing or what they're trying to do. But it takes more than just me agreeing. Let's see if it actually works for the better of like for the best of things. I mean, like will these creeps be able to like make profiles and pretend to be teenagers and like try like there's just so many things that like need to be worked out with it. It's like let's see what they do here and let's see if it actually works. Otherwise, it's like
Yeah.
probably just a waste of an article. But I hope what they're doing does work. I obviously hope it works. But yeah, sorry. Hopefully teenagers can be safer playing Roblox. I'm not gonna lie, personally I never really got the hype for Roblox. I'm not gonna knock anybody who's doing it. I mean, it's one thing to be like a kid slash teenager and playing, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not even knocking adults for playing video games in general, but it's like out of all the games, why Roblox? Why Roblox? Like I don't know, man. It's like I don't know. It doesn't sound like something that game specifically does not sound like something an adult should be playing. Once again, like if you want to play anything else, like I don't know, something that an adult would play, something that an adult would be entertained by. It should be like either a racing game, shooting game, I don't know, maybe even a spy game or like a tactical game, something like that, or a cowboy game. Mature game. Or like out of all the games, why? I personally don't get the appeal.
Neither do I.
Yeah, honestly, what can you do about it? Uh, anyways, yeah. Is there anything else in the news?
Over 11 million refugees risk losing aid due to funding cuts.
Dang. Huh. Okay. Let's hear more about this refugee problem and then losing aid.
Massive cuts to humanitarian budgets risk leaving more than 11 refugees without desperately needed aid, the United Nations warned on Friday. That corresponds to a full third of the number reached last year by the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR. In a new report, the agency highlighted a deadly confluence of factors pummeling millions of refugees and displaced people globally, raising displacement, shrinking funding, and political apathy. We are right now facing a deadly cocktail, UNHCR's head of external relations, Dominique Hyde, told reporters in Geneva. We are incredibly concerned for refugees and displaced populations around the world. Dramatic aid cuts by the United States and other countries have left UNHCR and other aid organizations facing gaping shortfalls. UNHCR has said it needs $10.6 billion to assist the world's refugees this year, but so far it has received just 23% of that amount. As a result, the agency said it was seeing $1.4 billion of essential programs being cut or put on hold. The impact, Hyde cautioned, risks being that up to 11.6 million refugees and people forced to flee are losing access to humanitarian assistance provided by UNHCR. The agency said families were being forced to be choose are forced to choose between feeding their children, buying medicine, and paying rent. Malnutrition is essentially severe for refugees fleeing war-ravaged Sudan, where the UN has been forced to reduce food rations and nutrition screening, she said, decrying the devastating impact for children who have fled to Chad.
He's definitely never like withhold anything from like people who need it. I mean that's just wrong. That's just wrong in itself. I mean it's like especially for people who need it. It's like it's just common human decency. Like if a family, people with kids need it, man. It's like, bro, I think that they should get it the most. If regular people need it, then yeah, like they should get. They should. I think they should get something, but they shouldn't get as much as like a family like a refugee mom or a refugee father, or like two refugee parents with like 3 kids or 4 kids. Like cause it's like it's just wrong, like entirely. Like yeah, do you have like any initial thoughts on that?
Well, I am certainly not against not helping people. It's important to help those in desperate need. But
Yeah.
when you do help people who are trying to escape war or some other factors that would cause some kind of threat to people's lives, it shouldn't be enough to provide those people with food and a shelter. Although it is important to do those alone is not enough. I think we should also help those people, like understanding the culture which they are migrating to, as well as helping them with building the skills that they could possibly use in whatever job that they would like to work in. So, although I understand cutting funding for food and shelter for those people are an absolute major concern. However, during the time that they are staying in whatever country they're in, to escape whatever is a threat to them, there has to be more than just helping them with getting access to what they need. We should also help those people with developing unique skills that they can use, whether it be in their daily lives or in other industry sector jobs. Because, and again, I'm not going to say kick them out. I'm not going to ask them to all leave if their lives are at threat. But if at the time that if people are going to be residing or living in a country, I think there has to be some form of contribution that these people can provide for their local communities. Because, well, of course, if yeah, so I'm not sure how else to say this, although it's important that food and shelter are provided to people fleeing from war or any conflicts. We need to provide assistance for them and guide them in a direction where they can contribute to the local community or even possibly the nation as a whole, rather than just being reside there. Because a reason why many developed countries are at the state where they are is because of the people and the skills that they have that provide and contribute to the local economies. I think the same can be said for those people fleeing foreign countries for reasons that could be a threat to their lives. That's all I will say. It is important that there is support, but also there's also a need to guide them and helping them to contribute to the local communities and economies. So they're more than just at home. They are a part of something. And by the time anyone does say, no, you have to leave immediately, what will happen to the local community if their contribution is absent? And I think a lot of people on the left have mentioned why getting rid of all foreigners is a bad idea. Whilst I understand there should be a way of preserving the national culture that has lived for many years, but we can't just get rid of foreign migrants who have contributed so much to a country and are willing to do anything to ensure they provide better life for their families.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with everything you just said there. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, and that's all you should really show to people who really need it, and don't fend for themselves. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Yes, there is.
All right.
Mid-Atlantic electric grid PGM not ready for data center boom, experts warn.
Experts warn about that not being ready for data center boom. You said? Is that what they
Yes,
said?
data
Boom
center boom.
for data
Yes,
center
boom.
boom.
They literally said boom.
Why? Okay, let's just read why.
I don't know. Yeah, let's see what they say. Stretching from Chicago to Washington, D.C., the PJM electric grid already has the highest concentration of data centers in the United States, and more are on the way following announcements from big tech. New electricity sources can spend 5 years waiting to connect to the PJM grid, which has experts worried that there will not be enough power to meet demand or supply big tech's energy needs. The PJM grid includes a market for meeting power demand 3 years in the future. With forecasts of new data centers, the market is already causing higher electricity bills for consumers.
Not really sure how good the high electricity bill part is, but other than that, I'm just gonna hope that everything goes well, and also for people who like using electricity, maybe go solar. You know, you won't have to worry about those high electricity bills. But nonetheless, yeah, I just hope everything in the future and right now goes well. I miss the simpler times when things were just be simple. But we're not gonna go back to those times but yeah, yeah. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything to say about that?
Well, I will say I will give them credit for actually trying to think ahead. But of course, it's not enough to just think ahead. You also got to have a plan on how you will tackle what's going to happen ahead of time. So I'll leave it at that. At least they're trying to think into the future right now rather than later. So that's something.
Yeah, honestly, I think people just think into the future, but they don't really think how to tackle it if it goes wrong. Yeah, people really don't think people think far ahead, but not so far ahead where what they would do if things go wrong. Some people are smart enough to think of what to do if things go wrong, but others just think about what they can do in the future to make things better. So, you know,
The thing is, they just don't know until it's too late.
or they don't know until it actually happens. So, yeah, too late. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, too late, like you said. But wish them the best of luck. Hopefully things get good as they keep going. But yeah, what else in the news?
Let's just see. A poll for the New York City mayoral election. It shows Eric Adams in fourth place with 13%, Curtis Sliwa 22%, Andrew Cuomo 23%, and Zoran Mamdani at 26%.
Wow, interesting. Very, very interesting. So who do you think is gonna be the MVP of this all?
Personally, it's very, very close. I could say anyone, and they have a chance. But I'm not going to say it because there could be other factors that may not happen yet, but when they do, that will dramatically shift the voting intentions for people in New York City for their next mayor. Like, Mamdani may be in the lead now, but who's to say that Cuomo can't make a comeback after losing the Democratic nomination? Or maybe a chance of Sliwa maybe being the next New York City mayor, despite the fact that Republican presence is not very strong in New York City. Like, or maybe, and I'm certain this is very, very unlikely, maybe Eric Adams can win re-election again, despite not applying for the Democratic primaries, let alone winning it. It's too close. Personally, it's too close to say, and I believe that all candidates have somewhat of an equal footing and plausible chance of being the next mayor of New York City.
Yeah, one vote against. I'm not voting for any of them. Not definitely not just gonna vote just so I can say I voted. I don't even know. I'll be honest. Other than Eric Adams, I don't know any of them. That's really how under the loop I am with like. But it's like I just like I don't know enough about them. I'm sorry, I don't. Like human beings, yeah, sure, but it's like as political figures, not. I don't know them. Hey, best of luck to all of those men. Whichever one becomes president, sorry, mayor, mayor. Then best of luck to them. I don't know why I said president.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I said president. You think Eric Adams would like run for president? You think that's the next step for him if he loses this?
I'm not too sure about Eric Adams, although have been in the Democrat Party for quite a while, and although Risk did say that would Eric Adams have a chance of switching to the Republican Party? I'd question if Eric Adams was going to make the switch, a party switch, are his current views compatible with either the existing Democrat or Republican Party? That is the question, in order to get one of those nominations for president.
That's true. We have to see what happens next after this, you know? We just have to see what happens next. And may it fall, as they may. But either way, that's a look to each man, and it may be best man. But yeah, in unrelated news, McDonald's has launched an XXL shareable version of the fries called Spam Fries. They should have called it Spam Fries, or whatever, in Malaysia. Very interesting. Not at all, like, news related. But anyway, yeah, let's move on to the next story.
Okay. Israeli teens burn conscription papers and refuse to serve in the IDF.
Let's see more about that.
Now here's the video.
In one sentence, why should people refuse to serve in the Israeli army? Because that's a genocide, and you don't enlist into an army that's committing a genocide. In one sentence, why should people refuse to serve in the Israeli army?
The IDF is continuing to behave the same way it's behaved since Israel's founding, which is furthering horrible death and violence and a circle of blood for everyone.
Because the Jewish state that trying to present me wanna exterminate the people of Gaza. We can't be silent. Never again is now for everyone.
Because it is committing genocide and it's not helping not Jews, not Palestinians. We're all in danger because of the Israeli army.
Alright, so pretty much people don't want to join the Israeli army because they're committing constant genocide, and therefore it's putting blood not only on their hands but Israel's hands as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say yes, I would say I'd 100% agree, whether it's Israel, whether it's Palestine, yes, you're ultimately going to have blood on your hands at the end of it all, because honestly speaking, you're committing massive genocide on both sides are killing one another. So I will say this, it's definitely not, I don't think it's of anyone's interest to join the war, to join the army, Israeli or Palestinian army. It's of no one's benefit, unless you're just obsessed with dying a martyr, unless you're just fantasizing about dying a martyr. But other than that, it's of no one's interest. It's of no one's interest to really join the army from their respective sides. It's just not. Why? Unless they somehow force you to be in the army, which they probably will. Probably, I'm not sure. But hey, either way, I can see what they're trying to say though, and I agree. But yeah, do you have anything on that?
No, I don't have anything else to say. It's
Yeah,
very hard to argue that even if teenagers in Israel are saying we don't want to join the IDF because what they're doing in Gaza is an outrage. It is awful, and I don't want to be a part of that, they say. That I believe is the nail in the coffin. There will be more that will have their opinions spoke out on the situation, but in my opinion, I think this is a massive moment in the event that goes on in Gaza. Like, even if, yeah, I think that already speaks more words than words can ever describe.
yeah. Speak more words than what we can say. Pretty much these teenagers do not want anything to do with. They don't want blood on their hands, and I understand that. I wouldn't want blood on my hands either as a teenager. And it wouldn't really benefit them to even join the war whatsoever. But yeah, this whole thing is a waste of time, and that's why most people flee from their country. It's like, bro, if there's a war and you don't want to join it, then yeah, I'd probably flee. I'd probably migrate to another country too, whether it be illegally or legally. I'm not saying that you should do anything illegally, but I'm just saying if you're fleeing from a war, then yeah, I can probably understand why, especially if you have a family to protect. But hopefully, sooner than later, this conflict will be resolved. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
I think that is us.
All right.
Peace.